I think we all imagine at some day, we're going to win a big tournament. And I think early on, we always imagine like winning one of those big tournaments on a lake or a river, whether it's our home body of water or something just close to home in our home state. And lately, that's been happening a lot on the biggest tours, and this past weekend is no exception. Wisconsin's own Steve Lopez got to bring home one of the biggest wins in all of fishing. The let me see what makes it, MLF Tackle Warehouse Invitational Title Championship. Did I get it right?
Yeah, pretty much. Without the title, but the championship, really.
The title?
Yeah, it used to be called the title. Now it's just the Tackle Warehouse Invitational Championship.
All right.
So
it's hard to keep up with all MLF names over the years. Like they've kept us on our toes.
They do, and I think they did some really good things for the anglers this year. They kept the payouts the same, and they didn't cut paychecks and stuff like that. And it would be really nice if we got some consistency here, and I think you would see Major League Fishing grow because I think the format was good. I think the checks were good. I don't think the anglers talk about that very much because they could easily cut paychecks because the field sizes, as you know, have been down just all across the board, and they didn't do that to us. They kept the checks the same. So shout out to Major League Fishing for that aspect, and I appreciated that. They could have easily done that. So I think we should little consistency, and I think it could go a long way in this sport right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So HellaBass Live, we're kind of back on schedule Wednesday night, presented by Arsenal Fishing, boosted by Powerhouse Lithium. Brian says Rich and Steve both sound good, look good, so the signal's good, rocking and rolling. And yeah, so I guess if you didn't know, Steve Lopez, winner of the MLF title, which was $150,000 payday, right?
100,000.
100,000.
100,000. If you had Phoenix, it would be 135.
Okay. All right. So $100,000 payday. Yeah. It's nothing to sneeze at. In your home state, got it done. 3-day tournament on the Mississippi River. So I mean, how'd that feel?
Oh, it's kind of surreal. 2 years ago, I sat there and in a lock, knowing I was going to take second place when Matt Steffen won that tournament, and wondering if I was going to ever get my shot again. And I've had some close calls since then. Toyota Series took second earlier this year, bunch of top tens. Gunnersville, I was leading after day one and then second after day two of this Toyota Series, and then kind of faltered on day three. And I just had some weird things happen over the course of the last couple of years, fish coming off, boats breaking, whatever it is. And finally, it just felt like it all came together. I made no mistakes, really. I played some locks perfect. I felt like I had a good game plan going, and I really didn't think I was going to win the tournament. And here we go. I come in, and the guys didn't catch them, and I caught them pretty good. And surprisingly enough, I thought it was another second or third place, and ended up winning the tournament. So it felt really, really good.
Kind of a role reversal, right? Because if I remember correctly, 2023, that's when Matt Steffen won the final regular season event of the Pro Circuit Invitational is what it was. I think it was Pro Circuit at that time. But you were the guy that had a couple big bags and was leading going into the final day, and then just kind of had an okay day the final day, right? And Matt Steffen was the one that just kind of consistently, 17 pound a day his way to the win, right? And this year, right, it was guys like Alex Davis and Bank Shaw and other guys that were kind of like putting up 18, 19, 20 pound bags and then kind of cycling, but you just kind of 16 and a half pound your way to the win. And so I can see why coming in the last day, you're like, hey, I did what I did. And you were expecting somebody else to have 17 to 19 pounds and not everybody to come in with, 14, right, or whatever it was.
Yeah, I really didn't think, the way they were biting my bait, and I was like, there's no way they're not catching them, because day three was really special. I caught a boatload of fish on day three. I was like, these guys had to have caught them, And I just figured I needed that 5.5, 5 pound bite to really separate into that 18, 19 pound range. I never got it. I caught so many 3-pounders that day, and just kind of slowly ounced my way up to 16, 10. But I guess it was enough. It was a pound something. I think I won by a pound 5 or something like that. And felt pretty good at the tanks when I knew the guy's weight. So that's kind of when I found out.
Right, and a little bit, I mean, like top 10, right? So I think it was a cozy field, right? It was only 37 because of the, you alluded to earlier, the Tackle Warehouse Invitationals did not fill the amount of anglers they did, and they kind of prorated the number of anglers going to the title. And I guess, to deliver on the, it almost didn't happen, and it wasn't because of a lock. Yeah. It wasn't because of a lost fish. It was because you almost didn't make the championship. Right? Let's maybe talk about that.
Yeah, I started off the year pretty good. I cashed a check at the Kissimmee. Then I think we went somewhere else. I had an okay finish. Then I had almost a top 10 at Smith Lake, and I was sitting really good. After 3 events, that Smith Lake event got kind of canceled on day 3, and I was had a kind of a good feel going into Pickwick, and in practice in Pickwick, I was just wrecking them. I was like, there's no way I can't catch any fish in this event. And of course, day 2, I think I only caught
3 for 9.
3, and I was like, oh no, this is, if I really caught my limit there, I would have probably solidified the championship there, because it would have, bumped me up 20, 25 spots. 25 points when we're talking over the course of the season really helps you. And I went into the James River, and I like the James River. I've been there. I've had a tough finish before, but I felt like I got along with the place. And day 1 was great again, and then day 2 I just fell apart again. Lost fish tumbling, eating the chatterbait, and then coming off at the boat when you're boat flipping them and hitting the gunnels. Just some weird things, right, are happening. And I'm going into the St. Lawrence River where I have never been before. No pre-practice, no nothing. And I get to my first area, and my first fish is like a 5-pounder. And I'm like, it might happen. And then I just stalled out after that. I just caught 3-pounder after 3-pounder. So day 2, I'm counting points and how we do at the end of the season. And I was like, I need to upgrade a little bit. And I made my first pass, and I caught 18, 19 pounds, which isn't a lot on the St. Lawrence River, but post spawn it can be, right? A little bit. It was kind of in a funk for weights at that time. And, I caught them like 6 fish in a row to get all my weight, and I didn't even call. And then I had a dead fish. Like, this is going to cost me a championship. So I went in, I didn't make day 3, and I thought I made the championship after the weigh-in of day 2. So based off of numbers and everything like that, but I didn't realize Blake Smith and Marshall Hughes were still fishing. So I did all the calculations for the guys who were not still fishing. I was like, I can't get out. But if Blake Smith and Marshall Hughes actually caught them really good on day number 3, I would not have made the championship. But, unfortunate for them, fortunate for me, right? I've been on both sides of the spectrum of not cashing checks in 41st places and first man's out and stuff like that. They faltered a little bit, and I got in by 1 spot.
There you go. So 1 spot, you're in.
Yep.
And then you're pretty stoked based on your history, right? Like, you're not a stranger to lacrosse. You live about 3 hours away.
Yep.
Obviously, you had a runner-up in a major tournament there. You've got some history there. So we only had 3 weeks between St. Lawrence and something like that. I assume by that time it was off limits.
Yep. 30 days prior is off limits, no information, no nothing. So we came home, went back to work. I had, get the boat ready for lacrosse. So,
yeah. And while you were at work, were you able to watch any Bassmaster Live for a few days? Or
I was. We were busy. I run a dealership, so
what kind of dealership?
What's that?
What kind of dealership?
A Ford dealership in Oconomowoc.
Okay.
So, yeah, I have it on the computer, but I'm listening to it and trying to do my job and stuff like that, turning it off. But yeah, I was able to watch a little bit and see that. Nothing really surprised me with that. I thought what people were doing, what was going to be the main patterns going in anyway. So
yeah, I think the biggest surprises were some of the things like the productivity or the production that maybe like Trey and Jay got out of some of the water they fished and some of the techniques they used. You know what I mean? Like they were not fishing anything real sneaky. They weren't traditional, like great zone. I mean, like they have fish in them, don't get me wrong, but like it seemed like Jay was like throwing some kind of dice. Like he was like shallow scoping with a dice in some like pretty community water. And it was like kind of impressive, honestly, to see what he got from that water and some of the stuff that Trey did with, a spinning rod and non, traditional area, but non-traditional techniques maybe is a way to think about it.
yeah, that area played big in our tournament too. There was a lot of fish caught around the bridge and the Black River areas and stuff like that. So that is, something that there was a lot of top tens made in that area because it seems like it's hard to win there, but you can catch 15 pounds a day there and do, the Mississippi River, if you do that multiple day tournament and you get to that, whether it's 3 days or 4 days, that 45 pound mark or 60 pound mark, you're going to have a really good finish there because there's 16 pound bags and 12 pound bags. And, but if you hit that 15 pound a day average mark, you have a really good tournament. So.
Absolutely. But you're kind of getting you got a little glimpse because I think, some of the areas that Pat won on were not super far from where you capitalized. So, not the exact same fish maybe, but definitely some of the general population of fish, probably you kind of were able to relocate them, I guess, or kind of figure out where those fish had shifted or their close cousins were in Pool 7, it seemed like.
Yeah, just it's no secret now. You can watch live, right? I'm glad I got the $100,000. I didn't have too much company around me and stuff like that. I was able to fish pretty freely up there with the 36 boat tournament. But there's, Pool 7 is just where the bigger fish live right now. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the low water or whatever the case may be, but you also play a dangerous game by going up to 7 with locks and fishing time, and you better catch them, right? Because you lose a lot of time, and there's definitely some risk involved there, and you better be on the fish. So they just grow a little bit different right there. And I was fishing near where I fished in 23, and I know the area very well and how it sets up. It was just a lot different now. They were pulling like 50,000 for current, 60,000 in practice. I've never seen so much current. When I was there in 23, there was no current at all moving, and they were ripping the water out. So,
yeah, it's interesting because like in the Bassmaster Open, the lake really didn't play at all. Basically at the same time of year in 2024, the lake really didn't produce. Like I saw your buddy Brian Partek all over the lake with me trying to figure out where those fish, and I don't think either one of us really figured it out. So,
yeah, that's kind of interesting. I did talk to him about that, and it wasn't playing at that time. And a year later, here we are, and 2 tournaments are won. Within close. It wasn't I wasn't doing the same thing as Pat, but it was close
within
enough.
a mile-ish of each other. Yeah,
mile or 2, for sure.
Which, Lake Alaska can seem real big and it can seem real small at the same time. It's kind of interesting. So
depends how many boats are out there.
Yeah. Cool. So how did how many, I guess, walk us through like how many days of practice, how you attacked the river? Did you go all in on 7? Did you sample any of the other pools? What was your strategy and how'd that go?
Yeah, so I got a lot of experience on 7. I know it pretty well. That's kind of where I spend a lot of my time. So I spent a day and a half up there, and I located frogfish, which were the most special fish I've ever seen in my life on the Mississippi River. I'm telling you, I threw into this mat and I would reel it as fast as possible, and 5 4-pounders would come out of it at once. Like every 2 feet, 3 to 5 pounder would come up. And I'm like, what is happening? So I was hoping that would stay true because I could blast 20 to 22 pounds. But looking at the weather, I was like, all of these mats are gone. We had some crazy weather, 40-mile-an-hour winds come in, and all of the lake, which was matted up, I knew was going to be decimated. So I practiced for that for 6 or 8 hours, trying to locate some frogfish and puncheon fish, which I knew were the biggest fish at that time, if you can locate them. And then I also practiced on the edge for the weather and the dropping water. So I kind of had a 1-2 punch for a day and a half. And then as the wind picked up and some weather came in for the second half of practice, I went down to 8 just in case locks, barges, traffic, those fish aren't there. I wanted to find some fish in 8, and I found some fish in 8 that I could have went there and caught 15 to 18 pounds to survive for a day if I needed. But I just never needed it. I went there when I was at 16 pounds each day, and I lost a couple big ones that probably could have put me over the top, but it didn't need it anyway. So yeah, I practiced for weather and dropping water. We saw it on the fork. If you looked at the forecast, you could see that they were going to pull the water out, and I thought I knew where they were going. Clearly, they were heading that way. So with the water.
Was there an off day, or did you guys go right into it?
Yeah, so we got 3 days of practice, then an off day, which the off day was miserable, and I'm just,
just in your head, just where are the fish going? What are they doing? What's happening to the mats? What's like?
I just wanted.
Should I retie this? Should I tie this on? What should I do? Like,
yeah, I mean, I didn't even throw a chatterbait in practice, right? And day one, a chatterbait saved me. I mean, it was 40-mile-an-hour winds on day one. It was some crazy weather. I went to my mat fish and I tried to locate them for about 2 hours, and then I went to my secondary fish and I caught back-to-back fish on a chatterbait that I never even threw in practice because it was so windy. I located them with a wacky worm in a calm day. I caught a 3 1/4 pounder and 7 followed it up with it. I was like, this could be good because it's not it's on an edge, right? And a little isolated clump. So I went there and I caught 13 pounds or something with a 4-pounder too. So then I went to another mat fish and I caught back-to-back fish on a gambler walking frog. Back-to-back fish, a 3.8, a 3.10, a 3-pounder, and a 2.12 to put me at 15.5 pounds. And I was like, all right, I kind of survived this crazy weather that has happened on day one because it was cold and major cold front rolled through.
But some people still managed to blast them.
They did. Yeah, that, when you got that crazy weather on the river, that main river channel definitely plays big time for smallmouth. They like it up there like that. That's why, when you go to St. Clair, you like that flat, calm sun. I feel like those river fish really like that wind and current. So, and that's what we had on day one, and that's why some guys really caught them. The smallmouth. I was shocked that Banks had 3, in September. You see that in October and April, those big smallmouth bags, right, in May. But for September, it's hard to catch fat smallmouth, and they were very healthy fish on day one for him. I think he caught 3 over 4 pounds, which was definitely condition-wise perfect for him.
Didn't Alex Davis caught a big bag on a frog, right? Didn't he catch 20?
Yeah, he had a 5'9" largemouth along with that bag. So, that really anchors. Mississippi largemouth at 5.5 pounds is just a game changer for sure. So
absolutely, it's like catching a 8 or a 9 in most places.
Anywhere else, yeah, Okeechobee, Gunnersville, it's a big deal that they just go a long way up there. Yeah, day 2, came out of the lock and it was kind of windy, and so I skipped the frog stuff right away, and I went straight to where I actually checked those schools of fish where I caught them on day 3 and caught some fish, and I kind of left them alone, and because I had the 16 pounds I wanted to get back. And I started there and caught them pretty quick. And then I went to the other school and caught them there. And I checked the shallow stuff on day 2 and I wasted a lot of time when I got up to 15 and a half pounds on my scale, or whatever it was, 15.10 on my scales, just trying to find that bigger bite that I thought I needed for the tournament. And it was just dying. It was just disappearing. Water temp was 12, 13, 15 degrees colder than practice. And I just knew they were moving out to the edges. And, I kind of survived, went back down, knew I was going to be in the top 5. And I kind of liked the position where I was in. And I knew I was going to slick off on day 3. And when I pulled in, the water raised in from 8 to 7. And I look at, you're standing holding the rope, and you look across the lake and you can see all the lines and all the grass edges. I looked at my Marshall and I was like, we are going to wreck them today. So I've just been waiting for a day like this. And we got to the first stop and caught them pretty good, but the second stop was incredible. And, went up to about 13 pounds on day 3 or something like that. I'm in the first hour, I don't even know what it was, caught so many fish. And I was like, man, I tied on a mag draft the night before, haven't thrown it in practice, went to my area where I was catching them on a chatterbait with, because the wind kind of died down, and I threw the mag out there and caught a really, really, my biggest fish of the tournament, which was a 4-pounder on that. And then went back to that second school of fish, and I sat there for an hour and a half just catching every cast.
Nice.
It was
6-inch?
special.
6-inch
I was
mag?
I was throwing a 6-inch mag. This is the exact one that I was throwing right there on a 7'7" heavy action ducket, Jacob Wheeler series. And I caught a couple fish on it, but I knew that, need a bigger bite. So I wanted to.
Yeah, we'll throw it back up there so we can see it.
Albino. It's my favorite one to throw, is that albino mag draft.
Straight fluoro?
Yep. Yeah, 20. I throw 20. Sometimes I do throw 17, but I do like 20 because, if you boat flip something or just don't want it to ever break or anything like that.
Yeah, why don't you run us through your other key setups you got there?
Yeah, this little guy right here. I helped actually design this frog with Gambler. The durability of it, the softness, the weight. I helped Val just try and walk it a little better, because in Florida they're popping frog guys down there. So I've been with Gambler a couple of years now, and he knows that from the river, and I like a walking frog. So we put this together, the shape of it. I think you like that frog. It's a real soft frog. I don't believe you ever have to boil it. It's got BKK hooks in it. It's got a rattle in it already. You can add more if you want. It's got a good weight to it. It walks really good. I caught back-to-back fish on that frog on day 1 that really helped settle me down, I guess. But I knew that bite was going away, and I threw that on a 7'6" ducket, Jacob Wheeler Series 2.0. It's got a good tip on it. It doesn't beat you up, I think. When you're throwing frogs and you're throwing such a heavy rod, it really doesn't beat you up. And I got that on a Lew's Super Duty. Not sponsored by Lew's, but I do think that's a great frog reel. It's heavy duty. It doesn't break down on you. Just feel like when you're throwing that frog, that's a solid reel right there. And then day 3.
What weight braid do you like in the grass?
For a frog,
Mhm.
50 to 65. I was, or 60. Anything over 50 is fine. I don't feel like I've ever busted off 50-pound, but so I typically throw a 50 to 65 Power Pro. I don't have a line sponsor. I feel like it's, I don't have any issues with it. Sure, it may not cast as smooth as some of the other lines, but I've used it for my whole life and works just fine. And it's not as expensive as some of the other ones. Then this day 3, as the bite went on, day 3, see there's still some eelgrass. I haven't done any cleaning at all. There's still some grass on this. This was a little bit from day 5. This bait caught me so many fish on day 5. This is not sponsored by Strike King or anything like that, but I love a sexy dog and it catches fish. And this was clear minnow. They were really focusing in practice. It was slick calm, and there was these little minnows. I don't know what they are. They come up and they bust, and there's bait balls of them, like shiver minnows, whatever it is, and they really like to come up and school on those. So I like a translucent, walking bait, and that's the one. And I caught a lot of fish on this bait on day.
What was the water clarity like?
It was fine. When there was definitely a mud line out there, but when you got inside of it where all the fish were, I could see the bottom when the water was dropping. So it was very clear.
Yeah.
There was no issue with water clarity at all out there.
I myself, I like, tend to like go bone so many times on the river. So I was wondering if that played into your color selection on your top water at all.
Yeah, I mean, I've thrown bone. I just wanted to give them something. I wasn't sure how much pressure was out there after the elites were there. I feel like if you throw bone, it's a little less natural, which I've caught tons of fish on bone out there. That's a good color to throw. I just wanted to give them something a little bit more natural and clear. I don't think if they're eating little bait like this, they can see it clear,
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if like a clearer bait, because obviously if you throw bone, it looks like a 6-inch or a 5-inch shad, where if you got kind of a translucent bait, they probably don't get a good look. Is that a pod of small minnows? Is that right? They're probably just so.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought as well, right? This is some of the things you go through. I also threw like a bluegill color as well during practice and caught them pretty good on that. I don't really think it mattered when they come up and they're killing bait left and right and you throw in the middle of them and they destroy your bait. You could throw a hot dog in there and they would bite. It's about locating the fish at that point in time. But when you are locating them, man, I had this one spot in practice that they were schooling and busting bait all over me, nonstop, in the grass. I couldn't get a thing to bite. I was throwing horny toads on them. I was throwing rivets. I was throwing little flukes, big fluke, and I'm like, are they all bass? Or, so maybe if somebody can teach me how to catch those fish one day, it'll be a lot easier. But that happened in 23 as well in the grass like that. There's shad moving in there and there's bait balls going. But that bite kind of went away because of the cold and the wind. The mats kind of disappeared. But my primary bait, what I caught most of my weight on, this is it. This is the Gambler Ace Green Pumpkin and June Bug. I use a number 2 red line Nico rig hook, and I love these little VMC crossover rings. This thing is chewed up right now. I threw that on a 610 black ice Ducket medium heavy rod, older Ducket reel that they don't make anymore. It's a nice reel. I have no issues with it, but yeah, I used it. Some people are like, man, that's a big hook. I don't know. Like, I like it. It adds a little weight to it too when you get in that current, and adds you know, you don't have to put that. And not only that, it gaffs them too. I don't feel like I miss as many fish. And if they're gonna, you know, eat 3 treble hooks, are they gonna pass up on this with one little, you know? So I just feel like the hookup percentage is a little bit better when you go to that little bigger hook in the grass. Sometimes it gets
braid the leader on that setup.
Yeah, braid the leader. Yep, I use an Alberto knot. I was only using 10. I did break one off in the eelgrass. I think there are some shells,
zebras, some shells, yeah, all that stuff.
And I was contemplating the night before because whether to go up to 12, and I didn't. I broke one off, and it made me question.
Thankfully, you don't have to dread that because you got the big check behind you.
Yeah, I got a big check and a real nice trophy as well, and a Red Crest invitation. Crazy, just crazy. So
there you go. So
it's pretty riverish right there. You know, a lot of people throw swim jigs and stuff like that, and they do not eat the swim jig like they used to on the river. I mean, you can still catch them, and Tom Monsoor still catches them, but like it's not. I mean, like there was a period of time, I don't know, 15 years ago, where like a swim jig was like an A rig out there. Like it's like they had never seen anything like it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Did you ever fish it back when like swim jigs really kind of? I mean, like it was dumb. Like it doesn't seem like. I think just more people are fishing in general.
Yeah,
if you notice a lot of the tournaments this year, right, is winning a lot of the tournaments because there's more pressure than ever, which is great for our sport, right? More people are fishing, more tournaments, all that sort of stuff. But I do think there is more pressure than ever before. And I do think I don't want to say this for 15 years ago. I think there's just better anglers. You know, more people are more educated, so they know all the tricks and stuff like that. Where there's all that information. So I think fish are getting smarter. That's it.
Yeah,
and this time of year,
15 years ago, outside of a couple pictures and a couple articles in a Bassmaster magazine, right? Like you were kind of flying blind when you went down the river until you just basically learned. And now people can pretty much get a pretty good idea what to look for, whether it's watching TV or YouTube video. You know, those guys that put out YouTube videos, I mean, they pretty much just give it all away, and they're the worst kind of guys. So
yeah. I'm giving it all tonight too.
But yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I don't think there's any more or less bass, but I definitely think they're a more educated population for sure. There's definitely more people. I think I don't know if there's more people fishing the river, but there's definitely more people bass fishing the river than there was back then, I think.
Agreed. And I do think it's that late summer kind of where they've seen some baits too, where fish get a little bit lazy before the fall. If you go there in 3 weeks, they're going to eat a swim jig and a chatterbait. No, like that's what I would probably throw along with a lipless and, a jig and stuff like that. But this time of year, I just think they kind of get a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that type of frog mat that you found in practice is really hard to find these days. Like, it's rare to get that hot and fresh of a school in a mat these days that hasn't gotten beat on and educated.
I knew what was going to happen with the wind. I really just wanted to record it and see what I could catch out of it because I knew not a fish was going to be there. But I still couldn't do it. That's the worst part about it.
I was going to say, like, you were telling the stories, like, you should have just burned it down and had it.
I burned it down just to see what I could have caught. Weighed them all. I knew they weren't going to be there. But, with tournament fish.
In the back of your mind, you were thinking, maybe if I don't catch them all, I can find them on this edge or this shell bed or this drop in a couple days.
I spent 3.5 hours fishing around that. 100 yards here, 100 yards there, 100 yards there. That mat over there. Oh, there's a little hard spot over there. I looked all over for those fish because I know they're close, but I couldn't find them.
Yeah. I actually had a pretty good mat in the open in practice. wasn't that crazy, but there was some big ones in it, and like it was like a mat in. It wasn't out anywhere in the edge. You had to be like, and it was just this one little corner of one little mat that they were in, and I checked them all through practice, and there wasn't any. I mean, we had some wind, but the mat stayed there. But they were not there, or they did not want to fire in the tournament, no matter how hard I tried from different angles or punching it or frogging it, but kind of based my tournament around it, and it didn't happen.
The 3 I caught on a frog on day 1, the 310, the 3 and 212 or whatever to get me to 15.5 pounds, and got a camera in my boat, were all exactly the same exact cast.
Mm-hmm.
So they hit it in the same, would catch one, put it in the box, call, same exact spot. Another one would do it, same exact spot. It's amazing what happens in September out there, when you find them. Really what you can catch out of a boat size mat if you find that special. But on the river, you got to keep, going until you actually get bit. I don't believe you're around fish until you get bit.
Yeah, honestly, I had a pretty good regional there, in 2021, and I think across 3 days I weighed like 8 fish out of a mat the size of my boat, and they were all over 3 pounds.
Yeah, it's amazing when that happens.
And it was like that much water, and it was falling. But the last day I could only get 2 out of there.
Yeah, that'll happen.
3. No, I got 3. I got 3 for 10.5 the last day out of that mat, but I couldn't find 2 more to go with it. So, yeah, cool. That's awesome. I think there's a lot of people excited. What was the lock situation like, as far as like, were you under the gun? Were there much barge? Did you have to play much of a game, or were you
No. We went up there.
How much time did you spend up in 8 each day, I guess?
Went right there each morning. Day 1, it didn't open up right away, but pretty close. I don't think they knew we were coming on day 1. Day 2, they knew, and day 3, they knew we were coming, so they opened it up right away. In 23, when Stefan won and I took second, we had to wait hours
every day. Yeah,
every day to get up there and start fishing. So that was really stressful. And then day 1, when I got close to 16 pounds, I was like, let's go check my frog fishing. 8, let's play it a little safe. I had a camera in the boat. I knew I was doing well, and they didn't take it away. You kind of get this, right, what's happening. They would take it away if you weren't doing well, right? So I knew I was doing top 7-ish fish catching. And then day 2, I had like 16 as well. And I'm like, let's go back down. There's no reason to risk it. But there was nothing on the Marine app at all. And then day 3, when we got up there, we went in right away. Lockmaster said there's a barge coming through at 10 o'clock, right around 10 o'clock. So if you want to get out early, you got to leave early. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck up here. I was like, I'm not coming back till 1 or 2, so it doesn't matter. And I know, even the biggest of barges are going to take 2.5 hours at the max, right?
So the people that didn't lock first kind of got stuck, and they couldn't get up later.
Alex Davis, I had no idea when this was, he didn't come up with us right away on day 3, and he wasn't able to come up, and Banks didn't hear the lockmaster or something, tried to go back down when he was struggling on day 3. I knew there was a barge there, and I was waiting for it to clear. And once I heard the horn, I was like, all right, it cleared. So I was like, I'm good to go. And then there was a tug that was coming up. I was like, man, I got some flashbacks from when I had like 16 something. I got some flashbacks to 23 where there was nothing on the app. And then we all showed up to the lock and it was in there. It's like, what if this tug has something? And it was like 1:30. I was like, and he was just below the bridge. I was like, we got to go now. I'm going in there right now. I'm not letting this tug get in and then wait another cycle and all this sort of stuff. So I knew I had a top with my weight. I went up again. I knew I had a top 3 finish, whether it was first, second, or third. And the difference was second was 50 grand. 10th,
Right.
if I get locked out, is 10 grand. That's 40 grand difference. And third was 25. So that's a 15 grand difference. I wasn't going to throw away 15 grand for a tug, and I didn't know.
Right.
So, but I could have stayed another cycle up there, but obviously I didn't need it. And yeah, it was pretty smooth sailing all week. It really was. It was the easiest situation that you could ask for 3 days. I know the elites had no problems whatsoever either. I think there was a lock that was broken down below 6 or something like that was causing less barge traffic. Rumors. I don't know if it's true or not, but
Sure.
That's what I heard. Not allowing them to get up.
Yeah. Well, you were able to fish traditional river techniques, and you were able to fight off the minnow.
Yeah, that kid's a menace too. And a lot of those guys in the top 10, that's what I call him. I call Banks Shaw the menace. He's unbelievable. 7 top 10s, 7 tournaments, 7 top 10s, won a tournament, couple seconds. It's just unbelievable what he did this year. I didn't think there was any chance whatsoever that I had the win with 16-10. On my scale it said 16-6. I was like, I knew it's always a little light, but right. I didn't think he wasn't going to catch 15.5 pounds. There was no way. So I knew Alex struggled a little bit after talking to him on day 2 and hearing, that he caught his fish pretty late. I was like, he could, because I know the frog bite is getting tougher, right? But I didn't think Banks would at all struggle.
Yeah, in theory, the fish should have also been coming to Banks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the stuff he was doing, those fish should only be getting better this time of year.
Yeah. So, yeah, good fisherman.
Yeah, the locks are cool until you're in a tournament, and then they're not cool. Then they're stressful and.
Yeah, it adds good TV, right? I watched a little bit of live and stuff like that where they're trying to drum up, and there was, because Alex Davis tried to come up. He could have came up right away with us and then went back down to his stuff that he caught him late. And then, Banks was struggling up there, not catching fish, trying to get back down to 8 where he caught him really good. And who knows if he would add that extra hour.
I mean, it might have been a factor, right? If he could have went as freely as he want, maybe he catches 17, right? So,
and mentally, right? Like you're sitting there like, oh, I got to get through. I don't have anything left. I burned them all up here. And I really want to get to the stuff. Maybe he fished faster when he got down and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That was definitely a case in 23 when we were there. Just how fast we had to fish. It was amazing. I learned a lot from watching Matt, how calm he was, fishing. And I watched myself in 23 and I was like, man, I was a nervous wreck. And this tournament, I feel like with all of the seconds and the top 10s and the close calls and leading tournaments all led up to just the calm nature that I felt like I had in this tournament. I didn't rush any fish. And I do believe that experience, when they say it's your time, it's like everything comes together. The locks fight against them. They don't fight against you. You don't lose any fish. Just everything worked perfect this week for sure.
Yeah, I feel it's hard, like, to just lock and not feel like there's a little something else in the back of your mind when you lock. At least, and the more you do it, the easier it becomes. But like, you're always like just a little bit like looking over your shoulder all the time. Like, even
And
looking at the app, and you'd like, well, the app's 95% accurate, or or whatever. Like, and even that, then is always like, well, the lock, locks break, just like stoplights break, and power lines fall down, and just stupid stuff. Like, it's just.
And when you have a big field like an open, you have people coming back at different times, messing
Right.
up with cycles. So planning that is very difficult to launch.
And honestly, it doesn't even take a barge. Sometimes some big recreational boats that just they don't go through fast. Like they gotta like tie up, and those people aren't always the most skilled
Yep.
captains, and sometimes it takes them a while to get in and out, and they're on their own schedule, and they're not in any rush to fast idle out, and they're just kind of lollygagging and talking. Like,
Luckily it was after Labor Day, so there was less recreational traffic, and the weather was terrible. So I don't know anybody who wanted to be out there in 40-mile-an-hour winds and 42-degree mornings, for early September. It was pretty brutal out there.
What's the recommended kind of snack when you're in a lock?
Wenzel's Farm Pro Stick for sure. I'm sponsored by Wenzel's
Farm. Like just one, or like do you go for two, or like
we probably ate two for sure. My marshal or my camera guy ate a bunch of Wenzel's Farm all week. He was happy. And then Uncrustables. I mean, what fisherman does not eat Uncrustables or ham?
Maybe that's why I don't catch them as good as you. I refuse to eat Uncrustables. I mean, I'll make my own PB&J, but I think Uncrustables are disgusting.
And then I do ham sandwiches and salami sandwiches. That's what I do. That's my.
I mean, do you go with the true Uncrustables, or you go for the Quick Trip version of the?
True Uncrustables. I have done the Quick Trip versions. If I'm in the state of Wisconsin, we travel all over, but that's usually what's available to me at the grocery stores across the country.
Yeah, I mean,
there you go.
They are pretty good. Like, so Wenzel Farm supports the St. Jude. They support Classic Bass Champions Tour. You can find them at least around where we live. The Quick Trips all got them, right? So it's a nice option. And like, you can just like, they're good to have. Like, you might eat them this week. You might eat them 3 weeks from now. Like, you can sit in your cooler. They can sit in your glove box. Like, they're pretty stable, and they're, like, these are not like a Slim Jim. These actually have meat in them. Like, these actually taste pretty decent. Like, so they're not your typical like convenience store garbage meat snack. I think they're pretty good. So
and price point wise, they're if you use Steve Lopez Fishing, you get 25% off on their web page. That goes to myself and my travels and all that sort of stuff. Really supports the fishermen, and for $1.75 for one of those compared to I don't talk bad about anybody's product or anything like that, but it's a very good product, and it's a reasonable price for that as well for what you get. And
so for the people that don't live in Wisconsin and have Quick Trips everywhere, so what's the code again?
Steve Lopez Fishing, and you can use that code on Wenzel's Farm's website. They ship it all over the country, and help support me and sponsors that help support the sport, right? So they've been great. Great to St. Jude's and Classic Bass and myself over the last 4 years. I've been with Wenzel. So
we did talk about that. He said he was working, but he did kind of keep one eye on the Bassmasters while he was at work.
Oh, Billy's watching. Hey, Billy. I have dual screens, and my laptop was having Bassmaster Live on there. That's correct.
Yeah. So you mentioned your win also got you a Red Crest berth, which is spring 2026 Table Rock, right? With March, April, something like that.
We're off limits, so we can't talk about it too much. But this right here was kind of cool. I've been there a couple times. I fished the $1 million tournament there. Ended up 15th there. Didn't win $1 million. Logan Parks and Tucker Smith won that. but we had a really good showing. That was in the fall, and then I fished the Toyota Series Championship in the fall there. Both fall tournaments. This is in April. What a great opportunity.
Should be a slugfest, I would imagine. I mean, obviously not telling you anything you don't know, but like just for people, it seems like you're going to a good body of water, a good time of the year that's going to be fun to fish and fun for fans to follow along, I think, right? Like we got spots, we got largemouth, we got smallmouth, like it's springtime.
Yep.
Lots of different stuff I mean, you're not gonna be able to fish grass, I don't think, but everything else you'd want just about on Table Rock.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. Branson is a wonderful place to host a tournament as well. If you haven't been to the Ozark region, my family loves going to the Ozarks, and we've spent a lot of time there over the course of the years for sure. Between that, yeah. It's a beautiful place. Just if there was one place in the country besides Wisconsin, I love Wisconsin. I would think about moving to the Ozark region. It's a nice area to live for sure. Yeah, I had no idea. I had an idea, but it was kind of like I was focused on the trophy.
Right.
You get so close. You look at in our pre-meeting, you look at the trophy, but you don't look at the trophy. You're like, I want to win that.
You definitely don't touch it, right?
You're
kind of looking at it
ever. And you look at the $100,000 check and you hand that, and then the bonus was the Red Crest. It never really put two and two together until he handed me that, and I'm like, man, I'm going to Red Crest too. So that's awesome.
Yeah, super exciting. So that's another guaranteed payday, right? I think they pay everybody for that. So.
Yep. So
another chance at a couple $100,000 if you can.
300 for the win for that one. So not bad.
Crinkle Gravy wants to know. I assume you can fish adjacent lakes. So if you want to go down to a Bull Shoals or
yeah,
something like that, kind of get warmed up and kind of get a vibe for what's going on. Yep.
Which I'm assuming some people do, but
it's pretty good tactic.
Yep.
Very common for guys to go up to 6 or 5A on Mississippi River before, a couple days leading up to a lacrosse tournament for sure.
I knew a few people who went up to 4 and 5 before the tournament and stuff like that. So get used to the river and the water levels and running and just get comfortable.
So back fishing the pro circuit in 2026?
Yeah, a little bit of change with Major League Fishing. They're getting rid of the Invitational and going back to the pro circuit. Am I going to be fishing it next year? I want to fish with Major League Fishing. I think what they did this year for the anglers was a step in the right direction, not taking away pay, not cutting checks. I thought it was a very stable league this year. I didn't hear drama or anything. I know there's jackpotters. We do want to get hopefully away from the jackpotters and stuff like that, and actually grow a field where we get 125 or 150 full anglers again and fish for some good money, because I do think they have great coverage. I think they have their media coverage for the anglers is good. I'm established there as well, right? I've been there 4 years, so I really want to stay with Major League Fishing. I know they made another rule change with
the 3 hour.
The 3 hours, policing it. If we're a minute late for check-in, we get a £1 penalty. What if you're a minute late for turning off your sonar? Who's policing that? I don't know how I feel about that, and but I really
they really haven't rolled out the mechanism at this point, right? You don't know if it's like a timer that auto shuts off or
correct.
Yeah.
They said they're working on that. They have the technology. If they have the technology, I'm okay with it, right? I just want it to be fair, and I know that somebody doesn't get 4 hours and 3.5 hours or whatever it is, because I just like to be fair across the board, and not that anglers would purposely cheat, or that's not what I'm saying, but they can get wrapped up in the moment and be like, oh my, what happened, right? I went a little extra. I just want to make sure that it's fair across the board, and you know, they went to $100,000 payout and a little less on the back end.
Yeah, the payout's pretty much they added in a few percent, maybe half a percent, but it's basically the same payouts. They just kind of shifted them a little more top heavy to the top 10 for the winners.
Yeah, which in my opinion, I don't know if I love the top heavy payouts because there's only 6 winners a year, right? We kind of survive. Then we win a championship, right? We have good finishes, and
if you're Bank Shaw, you love it. If you're Steve Lopez, you're not sure how you feel about it.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. If you're a guy that grinds and makes a lot of $5,000 to $10,000 checks, you're like, well, I kind of make my living on those checks. So,
but I do think, you know, Major League Fishing has taken a bash by changes and stuff like that and cutting fields and stuff like that. But I do think they have showed out for us this year and helped us out. So I want to, you know, make sure that people know about that and anglers and fans know about that, because that's important to talk about the good things along with some of the bad things that maybe things, you know, there's change and whatever changes. Sometimes we just need stability in the sport right now, whether it's, you know, I like the format this year. I thought it gave Dustin Smiths and Bobby Lane. Look at the qualifiers that for the BPT in the top 5. It was Dustin Smith and Bobby Lane both. I mean, if you ask them, I don't think they're forward facing. Dustin doesn't even have it, right?
Right.
And Bobby Lane is in a, you know, Banks, right? So I think it gave the guys who aren't forward facing sonar dominant actual shot to make the BPT, make the next level, right? So I thought it evened out a playing field, and then we go to 3 hours, and I'm pretty sure Banks only needs 3 hours to catch. Well, they'll catch him no matter
just
what.
Not to throw shade at Banks. Banks caught him pretty much as good
He
as
caught them all. That's what.
So just like he knows how to catch him without it. Like he proved that. So, but yeah, like for instance, Drew Gill proved that he could right in one period on the BPT, he pretty much made a top 5 AOI season in one period.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't think this sport should. I'm not saying it's these kids. These guys are so good with it. I feel like I'm pretty good with it, but these guys are so good with it. And I'm not taking any of their work away or what they do. They are special and they are talented and all that sort of stuff. I think the sport should be diverse and challenging. That's all, right? I don't think it should it just needs to live in this box, and I think it's okay to have adversity and change, and maybe one day we don't have to just do 5 fish. We can do every fish counts, but we need some stability in our sport, and we're not seeing that in any of the leagues right now, whether it's, you know, Bass or Major League Fishing or, you know, MPFL didn't make any changes at all. They went away from it, and it seems like they're sticking to it. So, but yeah, most likely.
So it sounds like you have not cemented your 2026 plans in concrete yet. You're looking at the pro circuit. It's an option. It's on the table. You kind of want to wait. I mean, Bassmaster Opens just sent out their schedule today. They're doing 2 events on, 2 events off, predetermined already. They're kind of changing up how they do the EQ points. There's going to be Division 1 points, Division 2 points, and then overall points for guys that want to make a full 8 circuit out of it. That's kind of the biggest changes, right? There wasn't too much else really.
Yeah, the no forward-facing sonar, and then I don't know.
It sounds like the payouts will be about the same. They're going to have an overall points and a combined and each division points going to the EQs. Yeah. They haven't announced the EQ schedule yet, but I think you pretty much. It'd be interesting if they wait as long this year to come out with their EQ schedule as they did last year. Yeah. I would like to think that they're going to come out with the EQ schedule before they make people register this year, but we'll see.
That was incredible last year, you know, that, and I think that hurt everyone a little bit because people weren't sure where to fish or what to do. Right. You know, at least now it's September. Everyone has their schedule out. Does MPFL have a schedule out? yet? I'm not sure.
No, I don't think so.
They kind of wait till bass, I think, and work around Bass's the elite schedule. I know that, so they can get some of those guys over. But at least the schedule's out and people can make decisions. I do think, you know, I definitely would like to fish for Major League Fishing in this level right now. I do think there's a lot of good anglers and there's a lot of respect in the league right now with some of the anglers there. And I got a lot of friends in the league and there's a lot of competition. And I think, you know, I haven't ran into any issues or cutthroat on the water, which sometimes you can get with really big fields, which I like. And I think they're just very respectful anglers. And also the guys who work for Major League Fishing, who run it, the workers, they do just a fantastic job. They're just amazing.
I mean, most of that crew is like the old FLW crew. Like they've been around a long time. They get it. Like, and I don't think they definitively said in the press release, but the calling it the pro circuit again makes me think we're not going to have people entering individual tournaments. But I'm not sure.
Not sure about
that. Wasn't clearly outlined, but like, at least in my mind, it kind of insinuated that. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I think that's one of the gripes the anglers were having. You know, the guys who were jumping in, and not their fault, right? It was allowed. We're taking 6-7 checks out of the guys who are fishing. We were also taking championship money out of it as well, right? So it did even out a little bit. But I know that was one of the gripes, and I think people just want to fish against the same 125, 150, 100 guys, whatever it is. And if it's for
same time, MLF, they're kind of damned if they do. I mean, like,
I know.
Yeah, if they can fill their fields, they would have no problem not letting people get in 1 or 2 events. But then if they're not filling, they're like, hey, we got a business, right? So
completely understand the business aspect. I run one myself, so they got to do what they have to do to stay to survive, and I know why they did it. I didn't have too much issues with the jackpotters and stuff like that. I knew if I can't beat jackpotters, I can't fish at the next level either way, right? So that's how I kind of looked at it.
Plenty of those in 2023 that you beat.
Yep, absolutely. So I didn't have too much of an issue. I just the policing. We got to see how that goes.
You really want to understand. Hopefully, you want to learn more about the technology and the mechanism. Yep. That's your biggest question at this point.
Yep. Okay. That's the biggest question.
Very fair. I think there's a lot of speculation, but I think it'd be interesting if there's a good technology. I think it opens up a lot of things for a lot of different circuits, and so.
With the lock boxes this year, I never really questioned it. It was like, this is it, right? We're locking.
And don't they also? Isn't there a camera that you guys are given that you run in your boats? Maybe you guys. I don't think people even know a ton about that. Maybe talk a little bit about what they do at the invitational / pro circuit level with, and what the camera's called and how it works.
Yep. They provide us with a Vosker camera. It's a live camera. They can follow. They can tune in every single moment of the day, which, and it hooks up to, a YOLO Tech. I use a YOLO Tech back there for the mount, and it hooks at the bottom of it, and he can check in if, you're using cheating, whatever the case may be. So,
but I mean, they're using it to kind of see people are doing, like check in, like guy's catching them, he's not catching them. They can use it to get footage.
Absolutely.
My understanding is like if it's not working, like your phone will start ringing and you'll get a text being like, hey, you lost power. You need to plug that back in before you keep fishing. Like, right. Like
every morning, if you don't turn it on, they go, hey, your camera's not on, turn it on, whatever the case may be. So, and it's solar powered. So as long as it's on right away, it shouldn't have any problem after that, as long as the battery's charged. But they do that. And then obviously the Bubba Scales is amazing for score tracker. And that's usually, if you're anything like me throughout the day working or whatever, you want to just tune in here and there, see how your favorite anglers are doing. That's amazing technology right there as well, that we have to use, which some people don't, but most people use it. I know my wife would kill me if I didn't use it. She wants to know good and bad, right?
Yeah.
So,
And so you also had some good Toyotas this year. Did you make the Toyota Championship, or so you
yeah,
see that coming up?
officially I haven't.
Okay.
But I'm in the wild card. I have a lot of points, because there's still tournaments going on.
Sure.
Based off of previous years, I'm gonna say I made it pretty easy.
You're holding the spot on the calendar. You're planning to be there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be at the Toyota Series Championship. I think. I don't think anybody's, 25 other anglers are gonna pass me up. And then I have the Ultimate Angler Championship on Gunnersville, the no forward facing sonar, coming up next month. For that one, that's a really big tournament. Secured my marshal today. You got to provide a marshal for that. That's 3 days, no forward-facing sonar, for $500,000.
How big is the field in that?
200. They're paying down to 100 places, so it's just $1,000 for 100 place. But each day there's $10,000 for big bass. Incredible. So second place is 135K, and I mean there's some big money going around, and there's some huge names from every single circuit fishing that one. So that I'm not sure if they're running.
So was it this tournament that got you into it, or
I was in from Okeechobee. It was my first tournament of the year. I got in. I took second at Okeechobee, and I qualified for there. So that one I qualified a long time ago.
So did you have to pre-sign up and join a membership ahead of time?
Yeah, it was $500. You had to pre-sign up, and the highest qualifying person who paid $500 got in. So you could. I know some people who finish 60th, but nobody before them paid their $500. I mean, I'm telling you, there's Jacob Wheeler to Corey Johnson, Chris Johnson, Jay Shakirat. I mean, every single name in bass fishing is going to be there, and it's going to be a special tournament on, I believe, the most special lake in the country, most historic lake, I would think, for bass fishing in the country. It's up there for sure.
Does that have any live coverage, or?
I sure hope so, because this could be, you always like, who's better, this circuit, these people, that people, and then you get to watch it, right, and see what happens. I know it's just one tournament, it's not over the course of the year and stuff like that, but it's still, I hope it is live, and we get to watch, the best of the world, and I'm honored to be a part of that, for sure.
Yeah, it should be cool. I mean, like, they kind of had something interesting with that tournament they had on Lanier. Was it last year?
Yep.
Right? But the coverage really didn't live up to it, right? We just had a leaderboard at the end of the day, and it was kind of a good story to follow, but like you couldn't really tune in. So hopefully we can tune in for some of this to make it have some more legs.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's.
And then the Toyota Championships on Wheeler?
Grand. It was on Wheeler last year.
Okay, Grand.
So we're going to go to Grand Lake in November and hopefully get 8 bites a day.
I was there last November, so.
Did you get 8 bites?
No.
Okay. Well, I'll shoot for 4.
I think I got 8 bites in 2 days, so that was my problem.
Yeah. It can be stingy in November. Those fall tournaments can get stingy. I have not.
Honestly, I think our biggest problem was it didn't get cold enough. It was too nice. I think if we would have got some colder weather, it would have
triggered a little bit,
got things going. It just was lingering on and too warm, I think. But
yeah, I've been to Grand a long time ago. It was a spring tournament. Caught them okay, but not in the fall. I do not have a good history with Toyota Series Championships in the fall, so we'll try and turn that one around.
You got more momentum than you've had in any other one at this point. So
yeah, for sure. Fishing
free. So $100,000 is a good payday. Absolutely. Does that just get you kind of like caught up on all the other adventures, or is there any special purchases with $100,000? Like, is there any treating yourself, or what's the plan?
No, I don't think there's any treat. I'm pretty cheap. So
you didn't like stop at Culver's or anything, like.
we had, we celebrated. We in La Crosse, we went to this Mexican restaurant 3 times, so we went out to dinner there. I
You're just
probably
gonna kind
I
of
need to get a
add
new.
the fishing account and get ready for another couple of years type thing.
I work at a Ford dealership. I need to, probably get a new truck for next year. I'll definitely need to get a new boat, but those are things that are probably coming up anyway because they're,
Right.
years old, both of them. But purchases, I don't know, probably rock up drywall up the garage and put a heater in. That's what I'm going to do. So
Some insulation up there so you can hang out this winter and work on tackle.
Yeah, work on tackle. That's probably what I'm going to do. The big purchase, if that's a big purchase, buy some drywall and do that. So that's it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, it's good story. Excited. A lot of guys, I mean, see, neighbors, states know of you, talk to other guys, speak highly of a super good dude. So I was kind of excited to see you win, and other people in the fishing community seemed pretty genuinely excited from the upper Midwest to see you pull off the win. So,
yeah, I think I think it gives guys who work hard a little bit of hope. I feel like I'm a guy who kind of grinds and works hard, and really anything I do, whether it's at the dealership or with fishing, I'm usually the first man there and the last man to leave at the ramp kind of thing, and just kind of your average Joe. And if I can do it, and work hard, I started this thing pretty late in my career, in my age and stuff like that. It kind of gives a little bit of hope, I would think, that it can still be done and still be won. So what a blessed week for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm going to call. I haven't seen many questions from the chat. So if you guys got questions, let's fire them up. We'll come back. We'll take a 1-minute break and we'll come back and let's queue up any questions the audience has got for Steve.
Are you ready to reel in your next home purchase or refinance? Supreme Lending's Dream Team can help guide you through the entire mortgage process, from pre-qualification to closing. We have a wide variety of home loan programs in our tackle box, including down payment assistance and first-time homebuyer options. You can ask HellaBass. He trusted us to help finance his home. Contact the Dream Team today by searching Supreme Lending Dream Team, or click the link below in the description, or scan the QR code on your screen.
All right, shout out to the Dream Team. Thanks for supporting. If there people are looking to refi or make a move or that kind of stuff, Aaron at the Dream Team's a bass fisherman like us, and so just like supporting Winslow Farms, you can support people that support the industry.
Yeah.
Brian, reminder: hit the like button. Make sure people get to hear Steve's story. Yeah, I guess what's your favorite bait when you just want to go out and catch them for fun?
Frog.
That was the only correct answer. So good job, Steve.
I mean, a jig is pretty good too when they're in current on a river, stuff like that, and they're thumping it. So, but frog for sure.
That's the answer Ryan absolutely was looking for. Was frog.
It's 1A, 1B.
Yeah, jig is also an acceptable answer, but frog was the correct answer.
Good. I tried so hard to get them going on a frog. I did. I wanted to win this tournament on a frog, but ultimately it worked out just the way it was supposed to.
See, he said you just went up in his book. So while we're waiting for any other questions, I mean, I think you got, is it all your socials are Steve Lopez Fishing, right?
Steve Lopez Fishing. Facebook, I think it's still Steve Lopez, but yeah, it's Steve Lopez Fishing. Yeah, that's what it is.
So it gets you 25% off at Winslow Farms and gives
Correct.
you entertainment on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, we posted quite a bit. Thursday nighters. I try and post 3 or 4 times a week fishing stuff. Little less sometimes in the fall, right? Where we're kind of getting into winter and stuff like that, but try and get, quite a bit of posting in. follow along. My wife and I lived in an RV the last 2 years. We posted quite a bit of our adventures, and we just moved back home about a month ago. So we're trying to still get settled in from that.
So Dalton says when you're down there, you can hit Taneycomo. The frog bite is what makes it special. He says it's nothing like Table Rock, but
I love Taneycomo. Been there, fished it. Big glide baits. That's where I learned how to fish a glide bait a few years ago. That's a cool body of water. There's some 10-pounders in there, I hear.
Yes. I kind of talked about this earlier, but Devin says, where are you from?
Oconomowoc, Wisconsin.
Which is just west of Milwaukee, right?
Yep, southeast Wisconsin.
Probably makes you a Packer fan.
I am. Brewer fan, Packer fan.
But we can both agree the Bears suck, right? Like that's common ground.
You guys did it last week. Pulled it off.
Critical Grave says, what's your favorite gear that you're not sponsored by?
Are we talking fishing, apparel?
Sure. You can whatever you want.
Apparel. I love AFCO, like shirts and stuff like that. And then this hat, my head is a little big, but I love this PFG hat. I wear it pretty much. It's the only hat I've ever worn. Lose makes a really good reel. I've used Lose for so long. I'm not sponsored by them. I like Seagar line, not sponsored by them. That's what I use for line. Whether it's in Vizex or Tatsu. I think I use a lot of baits and, whether it's a chatterbait, jackhammer, or catch a lot of fish on jackhammers. For minnows, everybody loves the depths. I don't mind saying some certain things that people use and we all use. I don't think my sponsors would get mad. Gambler would get mad at that, but I use a lot of things. I don't know.
I think most guys do. Right? Like that's.
I don't have a ton of endemic sponsors. I got Duckett for my rods, and then I have Gambler for soft plastics and stuff and frogs and stuff like that. But for hard baits, I'm open to pretty much anything. I use chatterbaits with little easies on the back of them, or photos on the back of them. I do think this walking frog is a very good frog.
Yeah. So the Gambler walking frog is your favorite?
Right there, Brian. Check it out. I don't know if he was on, but I helped weight it, design it, and the colors he had, but the hook, everything, the way it walks. I had like 5 different frogs, but this thing is a gaff, and it hooks them. It caves really nice. Oh, let me get it up. It's really easy. It caves. You don't have to boil it at all. Even the popping frog, you don't have to boil. When you get a nose on a frog, you gotta, they're a little harder, but it's a good weighted frog for mat fishing.
Yeah. I dabbled with them a little bit this summer. I would say I need more reps to give it but no red flags so far. It seems like a solid frog. The guy with Omnia Fishing, there's a code down at the bottom, save you 15% at Omnia Fishing. They definitely got them. So it's worth, if you're a frog guy or gal, it's definitely a frog you should give a shot to. I think that's a fair for sure.
The popping frog is special too. Around here in Green Pumpkin, that black, it catches them.
Jim G. Lopez Fishing, what's your favorite flipping setup? Baits, line, reel?
Yeah. So now are we flipping? So if I'm flipping an ounce, 3/4 to an ounce, I'm using the Jacob Wheeler Select 7.7 heavy. All right. I know I have a mag draft tied on it, but I could grab my rods out of my rod locker. If I'm flipping something heavier, if they still have some. So if it's a 1/2 ounce or less, I'll use fluorocarbon.
Mhm.
You know, depending on the grass situation, stuff like that. Anything 3/4 or above, I tend to use braid because I'm more flipping milfoil or hydrilla or whatever the case may be when I have the 3/4. If I go any bigger than that, like 1.5 ounces, I still have a 710 extra heavy black ice that I was flipping all week. That is an amazing flipping rod. And I use a Berkeley Fusion flipping hook 4/0 usually. And I use Arc no chip tungsten weight. I like those. Sometimes with an insert, sometimes without. I think they're good. I don't think they chip. Some of them say no chip, but I feel like these actually tend not to chip as much as the other ones that say no chip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are my setups for that. But that 7.7 Jacob Wheeler's heavy series select is a very good ounce or less flipping rod. And when you get up into the heavier ones, I use that at 710.
Blake says Steve's a beast. Guy
Ah.
catches all over. What size were you using flipping on the river? And then also, did you try any weighted wackies or NACO on?
I just use on the river. I use two different things. If I'm like flipping cut banks, 3/8 ounce is what I'll flip, like those bushes on the sides and in the cut banks. I don't think you want something too heavy to sink past the fish because they're usually underneath the cut bank and it happens like that. So you want it to fall just enough so it goes through the grass. You know, you want to pitch it in
the bank grass.
The bank grass, right? When the cut bank is on.
And that's a fluoro for you?
That's a fluoro. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 20 pound fluoro is what I'll flip. Or a 3/8 ounce jig. You know, I know Caleb pretty well. So I get his jigs made. I buy his jigs. That is what I'll flip, you know, on the river is that 3/8 ounce jig, just like him. I like to use here's a perfect example of something that's not sponsored, but I like a Rage chunk instead of what he uses is the Big Bites chunk. I think it adds a little more flash and it slows it down just a little bit, which I personally
There's
like.
guys that are chunk guys and guys that aren't chunk guys.
Yeah.
I'm not a chunk guy. I like something with like a speed craw or a menace scrub or something like that. Like it just mentally in my head makes more sense.
I've caught a ton of fish both ways, but on the river, I definitely, in docks and stuff like that, I like that Rage chunk. I really like that bait. And then I didn't, this is the hook. Blake, hi Blake, how are you? I know him pretty well and his dad. So this is the hook I used to catch all my fish. It's the number 2 Nico VMC Redline. I didn't use it with a weight this week because I was only fishing 5 feet of water, 4 feet of water when it dropped, 4.5, stuff like that. But I really think that hook and that setup and that VMC crossover is I love that thing. You know, I know Arsenal makes one as well. You know, it just saves a lot of time, saves a lot of bait, saves a lot of money. You can hook it wacky or you can change it, you know, in 2 seconds if this would come out and hook it up Nico like that and then add your weight to it. I did it backwards. I would do it the other way, but you can do it both ways. And that's why I really like that crossover ring. Some people say it flips on us, you know, when you cast and stuff like that. Sure, it can, but just watch it and, you know, give the natural action. So that's what I use pretty much all week is that hook. I really like that VMC Redline hook.
I do not believe that Steve is fishing the Bass Nation National Championship in La Crosse.
I will be in Grand Lake, I believe, that week for the Toyota Series Championship. I think I'll be either heading there, because you guys are there in October, right?
October,
Late
like
October.
20th or something like that. Yeah.
That's
Might be snowing. It might be beautiful like it was today, and it might be snowing, and might be anywhere in between.
I know the last couple of years, there's been some trick or treats with a lot of snow on the ground. So you might be ice fishing.
And they might be chewing. I don't know.
They are going to be chewing. They're going to be tight, but they're going to be, when you find them, you're going to find a lot of them for sure. It's going to be a good tournament. Big weights for you guys. Big weights.
Dalton Break, for skipping a jig, does it really help to go up in size, say 20 to 30? I don't know if he's talking floral.
Are you talking floral? I skip a jig with 20. Yeah, I think it helps stay on top of water, all that sort of stuff. I like 20. Usually when you're skipping a jig, you're putting it in the cover, right? Like underneath the dock or underneath the boat lift or in a tree or something like that. So I want something that doesn't break off when I set the hook. So I'll do 20. I do not skip a jig with braid at all. I don't skip with braid.
I've been known to skip a jig every now and then. And I pretty much 18 to 22 pound is kind of where I live. 25 to 30, probably we're getting to the point where probably almost to the point now it's like you might be skewing, the pendulum might be going too far the other way with line drag, and just, I don't know, you're going to probably not have a great fall. And I mean, if you're trying to like throw like a 5/8 ounce jig, maybe you can get away with 25, 30 or something. But if you're throwing like a 3/8 ounce jig, I think you might be kind of goofing up the action of the jig a little bit. But
I think I tried 25 one time, and the memory on it was so bad that I was like, I don't really like it. And I never had a problem with breaking off 20 too much. So, and I flip Winnebago and trees and stuff like that. You just have to watch your line after you set the hook. I think that's the most important thing, that when you get them out of that cover, just to make sure you're checking it 2-3 feet up and stuff like that. But I haven't had a problem with 20.
Yeah, I agree, Jim. Also looking, well, I guess they usually roll that out at the national championship, so we should know in late October what the next year's Bass Nation is. And since I didn't direct state qualify this year, I'll be looking at the qualifiers for sure. Devin's home pools are a little bit further down in Iowa, so he'll be rolling on up.
They'll be chewing.
Yeah, I feel like we covered a lot of ground in about an hour and a half tonight. It was a good chat.
Yeah, appreciate it. We'll see what happens in Guntersville in about.
So if there's people in Wisconsin that want to roll into which Ford dealership should they be rolling into if they want to?
Yeah, if you want to come by and see a trophy, Van Horn Ford in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, I'll have it there. I brought it home for the chat today. It's pretty cool. It's heavier than
trophy. If they want to talk fishing, if they want to talk about buying a truck, all those things.
Either way, come on. Usually, hey, if you go to the barber shop long enough, you're going to get your hair cut. So, so yeah, come on down. We'll take care of all the fishermen. I sell so many fishermen trucks in the area, cars to their family members and stuff like that. I try and really help out the fishing community as much as possible. I have good rapport with the fishing community and try to do my best to help everybody else out as well.
Yeah, a lot of people giving you congratulations in the chat. Appreciate you coming on tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. I think we kind of hit a good point. We kind of got caught up on questions. Appreciate your time.
Yeah,
absolutely. Work tomorrow. So
I do. Yeah.
Thanks for joining, Steve, and kind of wrap things up here. As always, we're going to help you guys catch more big bass and suck less.